I do see fewer people, but the good news is I know each of you, so I almost feel like I'm talking to a bunch of friends out here, and that's lovely. I couldn't have started the day in a better way. So thank you for being here, and thank you for being here on time. I know it's hard to beat the Bombay traffic, but it is what it is, and we like to be on time to respect folks like you. So here we are, and we roll. Okay, so as always, I do think through what I want to tell you guys each year when I meet you. So this year is no different. So my title, if all of you have seen it, is Narratives Defining the Future of Marketing Excellence. And rightly so, because we are celebrating marketing excellence today. So we should be talking about the narratives that define it, right? So how do we plan to do this? However, whilst it's fancy to say narratives defining marketing excellence, at MMA, we believe marketing impact should be grounded, or marketing excellence should be grounded in business truth, not in buzzwords. And at Unplugged, we are enabling an opportunity to learn more about these enablers that drive business impact in an ever-changing and dynamic world. So that's the focus when I'm going to talk to you about narratives that drive marketing excellence. We will also use this forum as an opportunity to learn about the work that made it to the final round. I'm sure you guys have had a chance to look at our finalists today. So we're going to decode some of the work that actually made it to the final round and actually understand the big trends, the takeaways that emerged from Smarties this year. And we have the best people in the room to do it, which is our knowledge partner, Toluna, who's going to help us decode the learnings, the takeaways, and the trends that got decoded whilst we were judging for Smarties. So that said, the whole day is about having the spirit to ask amongst yourselves in the room sharp, bold, and unapologetic questions. Needn't be only with the speakers, amongst yourselves. Ask the questions you should be asking. This is your time, this is the forum, this is the place which brings the ecosystem together. Be it ask your colleagues, is AI really effective for you? Is it really working for you? Or go ask your marketing teams, do you really think the CMO's title is redundant? What does one do about this? Why is everyone saying it's time to retire the title? Or go ask, are you solving for unified measurement in the age of AI, which now is a worthwhile conversation, right? So those are the kind of things you should be thinking and talking about today. Whilst what I'm going to do is walk you through some narratives that we believe are defining marketing excellence and also are integral to today's agenda, which is going to come your way. So we've done this very carefully. We believe that the agenda has to reflect the thinking MMA brings, the work MMA does. And hence, what we've done for you today as a part of the agenda is really scraped out the narratives that emerged in our boardroom conversations, that emerged in our task forces, and that emerged as thought leadership in a lot of our events. So be it things like, how can we power marketing for growth in the face of constraints and frugal resources? How can legacy and young brands learn from each other and enable reciprocity of learning? How does Gen Zs, how do we win the 2 trillion economy of the Gen Zs better that can help us drive business outcomes? Or how do we think AI in a manner which is efficient and inclusive? So how do we now look at decoding these narratives better? And that's what I'm going to kind of double down on in a few slides from here on. Okay, so let's go with the first one. Can we have, yeah, perfect. Okay, so the first one is about powering marketing for growth, which is what I called out in the beginning. It is basically about how do you drive growth against constraints and have a mindset that is deep-rooted to be able to do more with less. So therefore, the endeavor is always to equip marketers to be able to deliver best-in-class insights, strategic frameworks, and perspectives that help you unlock smarter growth. And hence, what you will see in the agenda today is how are CMOs enabling that change? How are CMOs looking beyond the vanity matrix? How are we taking real-time decisions at scale? So that's what we will really capture in the day today. The next one I spoke about was legacy and challenger brands, which is basically how do young and traditional brands learn from one another. So we have a fantastic session where we will bring in the perspective from the challenger brands and what is it that's really delivering the new growth of a new playbook for them which drives growth. And that's going to be a wonderful session which we will close with. So MMA essentially is attempting to actually build learning between incumbents and insurgents and really bring them together in one room. And this is just the start of being able to do so. The next one that you will hear about is the rise of regional media, which is also a power narrative in marketing excellence. Regional media is driving phenomenal growth today. And it is where language, culture, and creativity are converging. And this is where the ecosystem needs to come together to modernize it way, way, way more than what we have. In fact, at Smarties, we saw some brilliant work in the space which was done in regional, as regional campaigns in regional categories. And it was unbelievable to see how impactful and how rooted in culture it was. So it's really going to be a pleasure to have us understand more about it today. In fact, more than one session, not only what the Luna will talk about, but also a session where we're actually going to decode regional consumer behavior with help from our partner, Public. That said, we also have a report launch coming your way, which is absolutely, absolutely well-timed because we as a body have been focusing on retail media for now a while, and not only in India, but as an entire region. When we began, we spoke about marketplaces, we spoke about retail media as a full funnel platform, and we also started doing a lot of POCs on phygital media. But now is a time where we recognize the importance of quick commerce, and which is what we have made inclusive to our retail media think tank, which you see here, and we call it RMNIL, and you can look it up on our website as well. So what we are going to do today as a part of it is going to launch a report with you, which is going to cover, which is basically a playbook on quick commerce, which is going to help you really, really navigate the state of quick commerce and better equip yourself with strategies that can help you embrace the flywheel effect quick commerce is creating. So isn't that sounding rich? Does that excite? Does that sound meaningful? Does that sound like a Friday well spent? Yes? No? Yes? Yeah, I see the room slowly filling. That's nice. Okay, so the last two narratives, which I want to capture and which will also be featured in the agenda, is essentially the Gen Z narrative. In fact, we also have the Perfetti team here who also works very closely with that cohort, and there's some brilliant work they've also been doing. Now, Gen Z is a 2 trillion opportunity. It is a key cohort which needs to be decoded, not once, not twice, but on an ongoing basis, and in a manner where we are open to being reverse mentored. There is no ways you know anything about Gen Z at this point, because it's a very, very hybrid cohort, it's a very evolving cohort, and it needs us to ensure we're learning about them and with them on an ongoing basis. So you see a very interesting session which Snapchat has put up to really decode Gen Zs better and to be able to actually capture their attention. That said, it brings me to my last narrative, which we're very, very passionate about, and which we think is a narrative as a body we feel very responsible about, which is inclusive AI, and of course, AI marketing tools. But let me talk a little more about inclusive AI. So inclusive AI is something which we really aren't talking about. We're just so zoned and so carried away by fiddling with AI, but we're not really thinking that it has to be inclusive. So we cannot be talking AI without it being inclusive. There cannot be a gender gap which gets created in AI, right? So it is important that when we are training our LLMs, when we're thinking of of a lot of machine learning in the form of being able to run better campaigns, drive better creatives, get insights, the system is built in an inclusive manner. Only then it's scalable, only then it's unbiased. So if you're not thinking about it, we're going to force some thinking today with you in a session we do later in the day. And it's a narrative which we're beginning to drive very, very actively with the help of some experts in the industry. So that said, we will also showcase a lot more about how we can use AI tools better to deliver business outcomes and not just to just experiment for efficiency reasons and leave it at that. So as we cover all of those aspects, which I can also quickly show as a recap and a summary, which will come your way through the day, and which, like I said, is not just topics, these are the narratives. These are the narratives that are driving business excellence and will continue driving business excellence for a while to come. So it's important that you look at it from that lens and you see it as learning more about narratives that matter as we get into 2026. So that said, I'm going to have to let the sessions roll for the day and make sure that I remind you that we have our Smarties Awards in the evening, and if you've not registered for it, do so, and do join us in the evening as well. It would definitely not have been possible to pull off an initiative like this without the help of our partners who have really believed in the story and in the narrative we've been running as an industry body. So I'd like to really do a big round of applause for all our partners. Can we give them a big round of applause? And I see some of them in the room. And like you see, each of them are making a unique contribution. And we've really worked in a very, very collaborative fashion together through this event. And of course, the entire set of narratives I spoke about, the entire, the entire bunch of insights we called out, they're only going to come alive at the back of our wonderful speakers who are going to be really investing time into decoding and helping us understand these better. So a big round of applause for all our speakers, please. Come on, it's only 10 a.m. So that said, I hope you're going to have a great day with us today, and you're going to lap up all the learning that's coming in and enjoy yourselves fully. See you in the evening and see you around in the day. Have a great day ahead.